Hey everyone, today I'll be looking at some diecasts from Menards. Going to Menards is a dangerous prospect. At first it seems like an innocent, massive hardware and general store. However, particularly dangerous individuals will know that there's parts of Menards in which you can find some fun toys. Of course, I'm referring to the train section. And if I happen to be at Menards for a more practical hardware reason, I'll always go over and look at what they've got in the way of trains. Today I didn't really find any rolling stock that piqued my interest, but I did find a nice billboard that I'd been wanting, and I thought it would look good on the layout. But I'm not going to be talking about that today. I'm going to be talking about what I found in the same general area as the trains, and that would be these diecast cars. Now usually, and this is from my experience with several Menards around the Chicagoland area, these can be found in large displays. I mean, I would struggle to call them displays. They're just big bargain boxes, basically, that have a lot of toy and model cars in them, and just general toys and crap. But once you sift through all of that, you can come across some really nice pieces. Usually everything in those boxes will be the same price, and everything that I picked out of that box was $5 a piece. So considering that these are some pretty good looking diecast vehicles, I figured why not pick a few up. And 4 of them together would only cost a little over $20, including tax and whatnot. So I figured it'd make for a good video and add some vehicles to my layout, and also introduce me to a line of diecast cars that I haven't played with before. But they had vehicles from Ford, GM, and Stellantis, and a few other more obscure manufacturers. They were all under different badges in terms of the packaging. I don't remember any of the other vehicles, but all the ones that I ended up picking out were from this Denver diecast manufacturer. Other vehicles that were roughly O-scale that I saw in that box were a few Ford pickups, both old and new, panel vans and trucks, and a few more out there vehicles. But overall, there was actually a decent selection considering where I found these. And I'm willing to bet sooner or later they'll swap out the ones that they make in order to give a more full lineup. And depending upon the location that you're at in terms of Menards, you might be able to find radically different vehicles in different places. This is the selection that I came home with. I got one Plymouth Fury, which is it's a very nice looking car, and I don't have a model of any of them before. And then I got 3 Dodge pickups. They're all identical in terms of the model, but they all have different paint schemes or paint jobs. I think they all look fantastic. I especially like this two-tone sort of turquoise, greenish, teal color. This is probably my favorite. At first I thought I would buy 3 of the same truck and maybe put a logo on it and make them like fleet trucks for some kind of contractor, like maybe plumbing or electrical. But looking at these trucks, they're a little bit too stylish to be used as a fleet truck, at least as far as I believe. So I got different colors to make it more clear that these are personal vehicles. First I'll take a look at the Fury. And I think Menards offers a Fury Motors building, which is a very impressive building. I think they have a few car dealerships. Or maybe they just have the Fury Motors dealership. But taking it out of the box, it looks very nice. I think in real life these cars aren't super big. They're definitely on the smaller end for older cars, which is still pretty big. But this model looks fantastic. It's got the lines right, it's got nice coloring, it's pretty well done. I don't see that many paint errors. The white isn't perfect. I don't know if that shows up on video. In fact, I'm pretty sure it doesn't. But sort of over here, the white, there's a few splotches of black under the white that's sort of shown there. You probably can't notice that. Of course, you look at it from 2 feet away from your eyes and it looks perfectly fine. It's got very minimal detail, I'll say that. It doesn't have side view mirrors. It's a little disappointing. Of course, you can't get in the car. There's no opening doors. It's got separate little brake light pieces. Bumper feels like that could fall off if you weren't careful with it. But this piece really doesn't have that many pieces that can break off. Of course, it's got a full interior. But as I was saying, there's really not a whole lot that can break off here, because I think these are definitely more meant as toys that you push along. I don't think they're pullbacks, so you couldn't use them in that aspect. So that makes me think that these are closer to models. I think that they could be used either or, as a model or as a toy. Either way, very affordable, $5 per vehicle for new stuff is not bad at all. Looking at the boxes, they say these are $148, and I'd be inclined to agree with them. I think that this is pretty close, and that is precisely O scale. Let me grab a couple of vehicles to reference this against. Here I have a 55 Ford. Again, scales well. They look good together. Again, the 55 Ford is a little bigger, however, that might be realistic. Both of them are 2 doors, but I do think the Fury is a smaller car. I'll put it up against an Impala. That's kind of what it looks like. Anyone who's more familiar with these cars, let me know if the scaling makes sense or not. But again, I feel like the Impala is like significantly bigger in terms of scaling than the Fury. But if you look at the size of the doors, it's pretty similar. So maybe the Fury is just a smaller car. But this is a great little diecast model that would look great on the layout. Let's move on to the pickups. I suppose I'll just take a look at one of them because they're all very similar. This one's taped up because the box got a little banged around in the bargain bin. Again, very nice color choices here. I think the two-tone certainly looks good. Along with the white walls, it just looks fantastic. Of course, a good amount of paint detail on the front. Kind of hard to see. The light sort of washes it out. I don't know what to do with this. You can see they're separately painted chrome pieces, or silver pieces, and you got your chrome bumper. And you've got headlights and brake lights, as expected. Again, very stylish colors on this truck. One thing I noticed is the teal, or sort of blue-green on this side, or on the bed, is different than the blue-green on the cab. And it's probably not intentional. You step back far enough and it looks okay, but I think that's just because... Actually, I have no clue why that is. But once you get it under the right light and you don't pay too much attention to it, it looks good enough. There's a few paint defects, like here, the teal doesn't quite go all the way. That might be realistic, it might not. I think it might not be that realistic. There's cab detail in there. And there's some decal stuff with the badges on the side. And interestingly, with these, there's I think that's a tonneau cover, which is removable. How about that? I had no clue that the tonneau cover would be removable, but here we are. That is a nice little feature on these things. So you could have either look. I don't know, I might paint that tonneau cover black because I don't know how realistic a teal cover would be. I might be wrong, though. If you know anything about older Dodge trucks, please let me know. But it's very neat. Of course, we have the other two pickups, which I'm not going to take too close of a look at, but they're the same paint scheme, except the white is swapped around with the black. And I must say, it looks great. Both of these look good, and they look good together. Oops. But as you can see from that, the tonneau covers also come off on these. And if you wanted, you could put some things in the back. Or just leave it with the cover on. And I'm very happy with these. It's a weird thing on there. They do have a bit of crud on them. Don't know where that's come from. Maybe just from being shuffled around in the box, because those packages they came in were pretty flimsy and probably a lot of dust and stuff got in there. Because these weren't on shelves, they were in a bargain bin. So, having these all lined up together, appreciating them for what they are, at face value, these are good models. They aren't exceptional. They don't have a lot of external detail that honestly could break off, so they're a little more durable if you're clumsy. They'll pass on a layout for sure. They'll look great on a layout, actually. They'd also look great on a shelf. I think that these are perfectly acceptable collector's cars if you just want to have them all lined up, especially if you have the same model lined up in different colors, which they offer several colors of the pickup. Overall, thinking about how much I ended up paying for these, which was 20 bucks for the 4 cars here, I would say that that's worth it. I think in terms of new stuff, that's about as good as you're ever going to get for some very nice looking cars. And even pitting it up against used diecast models or older diecast models, that price is still fine. There are cases where you can find used models of just about this caliber for $3 to $1 at trade shows. But for new, it's hard to beat this. So if you're ever at Menards and you happen to need or want some diecast vehicles for your layout, this is a good place to get some. I'll take these over to the layout and park them around and just show them in O-scale scenes, and then I'll wrap up the video. Thanks for watching and have a great day.